कृपया हम आप
Historic and unprecedented moment for Indians across the world with the inauguration of the very first Hindu temple in Abu Dhabi. And in the words of Prime Minister, that we saw the mega temple launch in Middle East, that this inauguration of the Hindu temple in Abu Dhabi is going to be seen as a cultural milestone between India and UAE. Also, Honorable Prime Minister of India adding that with this, there's a golden chapter in history which is being scripted, and years-long wait or dream of Indians across the world, particularly in Gulf countries, has finally come to an end with the inauguration of this mega temple.
It was remarkable, Sakal, how the Prime Minister asked everyone to give a standing ovation to the President of the UAE, and the crowd was there and they really gave it their all. It was a fairly long-standing ovation which lasted for almost a minute.
Yes.
And the other moment I think that got the most applause was when Prime Minister Modi said that he is a worshipper of Ma Bharati, and that the deities that he really propitiates are the 140 crore people of India. And he also himself appreciated the kind of gesture that has been made by the leadership of the UAE in terms of how he said a golden moment in the history of humanity has been initiated by the leadership of the UAE.
All right. And moments there in that speech, Gautam, in fact, there were multiple moments which drew huge applause. And the Prime Minister also said this mandir has, or the temple has, won the hearts of the 140 crore Indians, and multiple mentions of the thanks and gratitude towards the top UAE leadership. He says, mandir hi nahi banayenge, mandir jaisa bhi dikhayenge, quoting the President of the UAE. We're going to talk about all of that, the larger messaging and the significance of this. We will put in context, and to do so, we have we will be joined by our top panel, Ambassador J.S. Mukul will be joining us along with Dr. Sahitya Chaturvedi.
So the Prime Minister mentioned a lot of things as to what this temple really signifies. At one point, he said that he hopes that this temple will welcome Basant for humanity and better future. And at another point, he said the UAE, which is known for Burj Khalifa, which is in Dubai, has now added another cultural chapter in its identity with this BAPS temple in Abu Dhabi. He, in fact, also said that this temple will be a symbol of communal harmony and unity throughout the world.
There was also the launch of a book titled Millennial Moment, which was also, in fact, launched by Prime Minister. And we also had that very brief but yet powerful speech by His Holiness Mahant Swami Maharaj.
And earlier, when the entire inauguration process was on, Prime Minister Modi, after inaugurating the temple, took an extensive tour of the entire structure as well, noting its features, the kind of efforts that have gone in to the making of this temple with these intricate carvings, all the stones brought in from India in as many as 700 containers. He also met all those people who were involved in this process of the making of the temple, which has taken, well, not too long, considering that its foundation was laid in April 2019, and then from there on it's become a reality. And the Prime Minister made mention of that soon after the Pran Pratishtha of the Ram temple in Ayodhya as well.
Yes, there was a specific mention of Ram temple in Ayodhya, and let's take this discussion forward. Ambassador J.S. Mukul, former senior diplomat, joining us on the show, along with Dr. Sahitya Chaturvedi, former convener IBPC Dubai and associated with Krishna Temple Dubai as well. Mr. Chaturvedi, I would like to start with you, sir. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, sure.
Right now, you've heard Honorable Prime Minister, you've also heard His Holiness Mahant Swami Maharaj, and Prime Minister,
the Minister of Tolerance of the UAE as
yes,
well.
Yes.
Yeah,
and the other top priests that spoke before Prime Minister. But the big takeaways as far as Prime Minister's outreach there, his speech, that is concerned.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, it is our privilege here and talking to the audience from this platform. I can say that today, that as the Prime Minister mentioned, that it's not just a temple in Abu Dhabi or in UAE, or it's not just a temple of religion or the nation, but it is a message of civilization. It is a message of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That's the wider context, I can say, because it has an excellent artistry of hundreds of animals, the plants, highlighting the vastness of the culture and the account of in this court of Almighty, where the waterfalls with the sweet water in the place of this desert, where the Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati, those are coming live at that temple. So it's the place of mankind, is a message of tolerance, and it's a message for civilization to come together and to develop for the prosperity.
Okay, let me bring in Ambassador Mukul as well. Good evening, Ambassador Mukul. This is Gautam. Just wanted to ask you, off the top of your head, can you think of any instance in the past that such a gesture has been made by one country to another? Let's not go into what UAE represents and what India represents, just one country to another, and how it's been reciprocated in terms of the expression of gratitude as well by Prime Minister Modi and the others who spoke just a short while ago today.
No, I think it is truly unprecedented, both as a gesture as also with regard to the way the Prime Minister thanked the leadership of UAE. In fact, it was truly a golden moment and opens a golden chapter, as the Prime Minister said. It is a cultural milestone, and I think this is something which is quite unprecedented in its scale, in its the whole thing. I mean, having a temple, I've had the privilege of serving in UAE many decades ago, and I think it is something that is quite unprecedented. For me, it also represents two or three things. It symbolizes, firstly, the spirit of harmony, tolerance, inclusion, and the diversity. I mean, the Prime Minister made it very clear, we have our values of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, as was pointed out also by the previous speaker, but also he cited or quoted the President of the UAE, who has said, we are all brothers.
Yes.
And went on to explain that as you enter the temple, you have the wall of harmony. So that, I think, is very symbolic and very, very important, as it is not just for one religion or one people. Of course, it is for them, but it actually encompasses the whole of humanity. So that is the first important takeaway. The other thing I believe, the second one I would like to say is that it is a very appropriate culmination of an important bilateral visit. We saw a very substantive visit unfolding yesterday in terms of the MOUs, the agreements, the discussions. Today we had the Prime Minister address the World Government Summit in Dubai, and I think this was the cultural aspect, if I could say, culmination of a very, very important and historic visit. And as part of that, it is not only the comprehensive strategic partnership between our two countries in all its diversity, length, breadth, whatever you may like to call, but also a personal rapport between Prime Minister Modi and the leadership of the UAE, led, of course, by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the President of UAE. That was, I think, this is also, I think, representative of that. And thirdly, last but not the least, is also, I think, a recognition of the work done by the Indian community in the UAE. We talk of a 3.5 million Indian diaspora out of a total of 9 million in all the GCC or the Gulf countries. And I think this is also a very important recognition of the esteem in which the leadership and the people of the UAE uphold the Indian community.
Absolutely. Recognition, acknowledgement and esteem that the top UAE leadership holds for the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. But how this really now will consolidate, or rather has already taken this relationship between India and the whole Gulf outreach template to the next level. You have India, UAE, and then you have UAE and others. So now you have a temple in Gulf. And we've seen the inauguration and the kind of reaction and responses it has garnered from the top UAE leadership. Their graciousness, it started with some piece of land, and finally the way the whole temple, finally the way the entire historical significance and this whole culmination of an event. So larger ramifications, Ambassador, from here on.
Well, absolutely. I think the Prime Minister himself mentioned that he announced at the end that already a piece of land had been given in Dubai by the leader of Dubai, the Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, for building a hospital for laborers. Now, I think that's very significant, considering that out of the 3.5 million Indian community or diaspora in the UAE, a very large number of them are for the blue-collared. And therefore, I think this is, again, a great gesture. So I'm sure this will have, as time passes, this will have ripple effects, so to say, not just within the other emirates of UAE, but also, I think, in the region as a whole. So I think it's a very important symbolic gesture that the Abu Dhabi leadership has shown, and I think this is likely to be in different ways. It need not necessarily be temple. As I said, it's a hospital somewhere for the Indian community. It may be something else in another place. But I think, as you rightly said, it sets a very good example and a template for the others to follow.
Okay. Well, certainly it does. Dr. Chaturvedi, if I could come to you again. You've joined us from Dubai, and since you're associated with the Krishna temple in Dubai, I'm presuming that you're a resident of Dubai as well. So just tell me, with this inauguration, does it make you a little envious of all the people there, all the devotees who would be able to, have this temple in Abu Dhabi to visit anytime that they want? And perhaps you could too, but you'll have to jump in your car perhaps and drive the 90 minutes to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, see, it's not very far from Dubai, first of all, and not very far from Abu Dhabi. It is at the intersection of the Abu Dhabi and Dubai, and there is no road barrier between the two places. So Abu Dhabi, Dubai is as same. In me in particular, as I am associated with the Krishna temple, it is almost 120 years old temple in Dubai. The time when the merchants were used to visit from India, and they were used to stay over here. So those families were maintaining in that school of Krishna in the Shiva temple. So yes, it was a very limited premise and limited access. This time, this is the Bhavya and Divya, what we are many times preaching and saying that the Bhavya and Divya temple, the first time has come up. The people are excited with the Shikhir and Dhwaja. It is first time in UAE. But as I was listening, the other messages also, it's not just a UAE. It is a message for the entire Gulf countries, and definitely it is a pride for everyone, all of us. And today, the auspicious day of Basant Panchami is a gift from government, a gift from BAPS institution, and the auspicious presence of Mr. Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Like Mahantji aptly began his speech by calling it an historical and spiritual occasion, and excerpts from his speech also drew huge applauses. I'm going to request both of you, our panelists, to please stay with us. Let's do a quick recap for all the viewers who have just tuned into DD India right now, and let's just tell them what really happened and the significance of the event on the day. And Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi a while back on Wednesday inaugurated the first and historic BAPS Hindu temple in Abu Dhabi.
The inauguration coincided with the 159th birth anniversary of Shastriji Maharaj, the founder of the BAPS Swaminarayan Sanstha.
Upon his arrival, Prime Minister Modi was welcomed by BAPS Ishwar Chandra Das Swami. These are the visuals, how Prime Minister was accorded red carpet welcome by the top priests of the institution. This is a landmark achievement symbolizing the cultural exchange and mutual respect between India and UAE. Basically, the significance of this.
Definitely. And Prime Minister Modi also performed several rituals as part of the inauguration of the BAPS Hindu Mandir in Abu Dhabi.
Prime Minister was greeted by saints as he arrived at the main entrance of the BAPS Hindu temple in Abu Dhabi. And in an historic moment, Prime Minister inaugurated the BAPS Hindu temple there.
He also offered prayers at the temple after its inauguration. The PM performed Aarti at the temple as well. It was special as it was performed at all the BAPS temples across the world at the same time.
After which Prime Minister Modi of India took the tour of the temple premises and the temple site in Abu Dhabi.
There you could see that he visited and prayed at different locations as well, because there are multiple deities of different faiths as well that have been placed at different points in this temple complex. Later, Prime Minister Modi also offered water on the idol of Maharaj Swami Narayan at BAPS Hindu Mandir in Abu Dhabi.
Prime Minister also inscribed the message of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam on the stone, which means
the world is one family. These are another set of landmark images that have emerged as far as the proceedings of this evening are concerned.
That's the chanting of Swasti Vachan to invoke blessings of Lord. And as we stay with the visuals, let's also once again connect to our guests and have their final comments. Ambassador, so what would be your final message, the message that has gone across the world today?
Well,
the bilaterals, the inauguration of the first Hindu temple in the Gulf region, etc.
Yes, absolutely. The bilateral, of course, the relations, comprehensive strategic partnership, and this is a new element, a cultural element, a spiritual element. There is, of course, the message, the noble message, or the values, reiteration of the values of harmony, tolerance, inclusion, diversity.
We seem to have lost the ambassador's link for a bit. Let me bring in Dr. Chaturvedi. Dr. Chaturvedi, again, in terms of its significance, it cannot be underlined enough. But tell us, what would it mean for the entire region, really, not just for all the Indians in the UAE, but for the entire region, and as Prime Minister Modi himself said, to 140 crore Indians even back home.
Yes, I think it's a great message, a golden chapter, and as he said, a landmark or a milestone in the Indo-UAE, and also he referred to the India-Arab relations, and I think for the larger world at large, the whole world at large.
Mr. Chaturvedi, would you like to add to it?
Yeah, definitely I would like to add on. See, if we see the geographic position of UAE, the world's population, 80% population is covered from UAE at just 4 hours journey, the air journey. So it is a destination which is liked by the tourist. Post-COVID situation, the most secure, the health-wise, the hygienic, the cleanliness, and the tourism. The 20 million people have arrived in just 1 year in this country, and among all the tourists, the 56% are recorded as Indian tourists over here. So this place gives a message to the world. The image of Gulf countries that hardcore Islamist is not that, because since the ages, this part of the world, the Gulf countries or the Arab Emirates in categorically, have been very open for the religions, very open for the Indians. If we see in Oman, very nearby, they're just 400 kilometers away from Dubai, the Oman, there is a 200 years old temple, which is with what we say mohalla, in the same colony of the palace, there is a Shiva temple. In Bahrain, again there is a
the civilizational footprints of India, basically.
yeah, exactly. It is a civilization footprint of India. So it's not only just for Hindus, all the religions. Even as Prime Minister mentioned, in that temple there are the lyrics of Bible, there are the narratives from Ramayana, there are the Sabbath. Today the Gurudwara temple distributed 5,000 packets.
Certainly,
on
and the
first day of the
BAPS
inauguration.
temple is also meant for all faiths. That's been clearly put across as well. And this is a momentous occasion. And I'd like to thank you for joining us to talk about it, Ambassador J.S. Mukul, as well as Dr. Sahitya Chaturvedi from Dubai. And with that, we're closing this particular special broadcast related to the inauguration of the BAPS temple that was done this evening by Prime Minister Modi.
Absolutely, and that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us as always on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, and also you can reach out to us on Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. On the other side, our colleague Mark Ling joins you with more. All of us here in New Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.
Thank you.